home environment,
and health. You are welcome to Health Station with CARLA, where all these come together and more.
All right, good morning, Lagos. I keep on saying the same thing. Good afternoon in 1 hour to go. And hello, Dipo.
Good afternoon.
Good to see you.
Really, I said good afternoon.
You see, I don't know what it is about good afternoons. It sounds maybe more formal than... I don't know.
Good morning.
For those who wake up at 4 a.m. to take the bus and to go to work, that's already afternoon for them.
True,
if you think about it.
It is.
Right?
It is afternoon.
So let's just keep it a good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Hello, Lagos. Welcome to your favorite station, Nigeria Info, with your favorite show, The Health Station, with me, CARLA, and of course, Dipo.
Yes.
Good to have you again.
Thank you very much,
So
CARLA.
what are the plans again for this weekend? Did you go see your mother?
Yes, I did, and she was happy, actually.
That's amazing. Did it rain that day, though?
Yes, it did.
You went?
It did, but I braved it. I was like, no, we're still going to go all the way.
Dipo,
So I went.
Where there's a will, there's a way. And you actually did it. Good
Yeah.
for you and good for your mama. All right, so today we are approaching a new topic, and we are not going to go into our usual routine with facts and tips and main topic. We're going to go dive into it straight, and it's all about the blood.
Interesting. Okay.
The blood. So we all know we have blood. We all know that actually there's one quote I am going to say now. I was supposed to say at the end of the show, but it's something that really struck me, and it's so true. It's by Joyce Carol Oates, and it's "We are linked by blood. Blood is memory without language."
Memory without language.
So yes, we're all linked by blood. Blood goes all the way to we're going back to 50,000 years ago even. And it really is a blueprint for our immunity. Okay, we know that blood cannot be artificially made. It is something we need. It is very weird. There's a certain amount we need. What are the components of blood? We've got red blood cells in blood. We've got white blood cells. We've got platelets. And you've got a little thin layer called plasma, which contains water, nutrients, wastes, gases, proteins. That's a very little tiny part of it. But not everybody has the same blood. We know that. I mean, do you know your blood type?
Yes, it is.
What's your blood type?
Okay. No, I do not know. I do not remember.
So it's
accurately.
why I'm asking, because it's very crucial. In case of emergency, in case, God forbid, you find yourself needing blood urgently, they will know what kind of blood to give you, because we don't have the same blood types. Blood is categorized according to the types by the way it prevents the reactions when someone gets blood transfusion. So you might get blood transfusion, but you might not get it from any type of blood. You're looking for your ID for your blood type.
Exactly.
Yes. Usually it is there. I'm an O positive.
Positive. Okay. Funny thing, I know my brother's one, because we were talking about it about 2 days ago, and
Really?
I was saying, yes, I know my brother's one.
And you know your blood type.
My blood type is A positive. Yes.
So we're going to talk about this positive, negative, A, B, and all the alphabet you can think of. Actually, no, it's just 3 letters of the alphabet, A, B, O.
A-B.
But the plus, the minus, what does it all mean? Let's go straight to basic. Let me give you blood 101 lesson. All right?
Yeah.
So red blood cells have markers on their surface. So we know that blood cells in general are circular shape. They actually look like a donut, you could say. And on their surface, there are what we call markers. If you want to have the scientific name, it's called antigens. Okay, and these markers are proteins and sugars that our bodies use to identify the blood cells that belong to us. So let's say you're an A positive, Dipo. All your cells have the same markers. All your blood cells have your same markers. So you have different kind of blood groups. As you said, you're A.
Yes.
There's B. There's O. But as in, blood types. But as in groups, you have A, B, O. And you have what we call the rhesus, RH, which is rhesus positive, plus, and negative, minus. All right. So the ABO blood system has 4 main types. You have A. So this is the blood type that has a marker known as A. It has an antigen on it that has A written on it. And B, that also has a marker known as B. AB, which is the blood type that has both A and B markers. And you have O that has neither A nor B. All right, you can call it the 0 one. So after this classification, as you mentioned, plus you have the rhesus positive and rhesus negative factor, and so that gives you 8 possible combinations. You've got O negative, O positive, A negative, A positive, B negative, B positive, AB negative, and AB positive. So having any of these markers or none of them doesn't make a person's blood any healthier or stronger. It's not because you're A that you're stronger than B or you're stronger than AB or O. It doesn't matter. It's just a genetic difference. And like having green eyes instead of blue or straight hair instead of curly, you've got A plus, I've got O plus. So it's just a genetic difference. There's no superiority. Now, why are blood types important? So your immune system is the body's protection against invaders. It's like your army, all right? And it can identify markers like antigen as either being self, so they belong to us, so we don't kill them, we don't destroy them, or non-self. So for instance, if you get a blood transfusion safely, your immune system will recognize the donor's cells in the blood and match to his own cells, and everything goes well. But if the match isn't recognized, the cells are rejected. And what happens to that? Your immune system starts producing more of its army, more of its soldiers, which we call antibodies. And these antibodies act as protectors, as bodyguards, as the army to protect foreign cells that enter the body. And what happens to that then? It makes those antibodies react to those blood cells and it destroys the invading cells. So if you're getting blood transfusion from a blood type that's not yours, your antibodies will destroy them. But it's a very aggressive whole body response. So it can give you fever, chills, low blood pressure, and it can even cause vital body systems like, let's say, a kidney system or breathing system to fail. So it's not a let's just try this blood, and if it doesn't work out, we can try something else. Sometimes it can lead to fatal results if it's not the right blood. So here's an example on how your blood type antibody process works. So let's talk about, you said A. All right. Let's say you have type A blood because your blood contains the A marker. It has A antigens on it. So because it has an A marker, it produces an army that fights back the B. Because it doesn't want the B. The antibodies are the B. So if B markers coming from other cells that are either found in type B blood or in type AB come into your body, your type A immune system gets fired up against them. Hello, where's my B army? Don't you recognize these are Bs? They don't belong to us. Attack! And that means that you can only get a transfusion from someone with A or O blood, not from someone with B or AB blood. So I'll recap on these later, but I'm just trying to explain the logic. Let's take another example. In the same way, let's say you have a B marker. So your body makes A, so your blood cells are B type. So your body makes A antibodies. So in case any A comes in, they recognize them, and destroy them. We don't want A, we only want B. So basically, you could get a transfusion from someone with B or O blood because O has no markers, but not from A or AB because the AB contains A. The B with the A with the C, D, E. You're getting confused maybe? I don't know. I'm going to give you a third example. Things are a bit different for people with type AB or type O blood. Now, if you have both AB markers, so your blood type is AB on the surface of your cells, your body does not need to fight the presence of any of them because you have A and B on your cell. You're not against A or you're not against B. So this means someone with AB blood can get transfusion from anyone with A, B, AB or O blood. So you're an easy target. If you need blood, many people can give you blood. The hard part though is if you're a type O blood. Your red blood cells either don't even have an A nor a B marker. So basically your body will only accept blood from O. That's it. Because it's fighting everything else. So let me recap. Your blood type is A plus. So you can donate blood to A plus, AB plus, but you can receive from A plus, A minus, O plus, O. Your blood type is O plus. You can donate blood to O plus, A plus, B plus, AB plus. That's why they call O the universal donor, because you can receive from anyone, but you can, give to anyone, but you can only receive from O, whether it's plus or minus. B, same thing, whether it's plus or minus. If it's B plus, you can only receive from B plus or AB plus. But you can, you can only donate to a B plus or AB plus, and then you can only receive blood from B plus, B minus, O plus, O minus. So there's more details out there. If you're on Facebook watching us, you can see on the screens more on the details. I'm going to give you a last example. If you're an O negative, you can actually donate blood to anyone, but you can only receive blood from O negative. So people who need blood that have O negative blood find it very difficult sometimes to find a donor, because you can only receive from O negative. B negative, you can donate to B plus, B minus, A plus, AB minus, because they all contain B. But you can only receive from B negative, because you're B negative and O negative. You can't receive from any plus. So it's a tough business out there, the blood business, isn't it? One more, AB minus. You can get from you can donate to AB plus, AB minus, and you can receive from AB minus, A minus, B minus, or O minus. So anyway, if you do think about donating for any specific cause, just make sure you consult your physician, your doctor, and talk more about it. The blood is very valued. As I said, you can't produce blood. So sometimes if you've gone through an operation, I went through 3 C-sections. And before going through my operations, I was asked to make sure I could guarantee a blood bank, someone to actually donate blood in case during the procedure I lose blood. So there are many people who donate out there. Of course, you have to make sure where you're getting your blood from, make sure that they're using the right procedures to extract blood to avoid contamination. But really, it's you should know what your blood type is. Definitely, definitely. One thing I was asked is, what is the most predominant blood type in Nigeria?
Okay.
Have you ever thought of that?
I haven't thought about that.
So I went through a few researches, and I found one Egyptian journal known as the Egyptian Journal of Medical Human Genetics, and the research was actually, the study was done in Nigeria, 2017, and they found that by order of frequencies from a specific population, the order was O, dominant, then you had A, then you had B, then you had AB. So O was accounting to 52.93%. Up to AB, which accounted for 3.66%. And the prevalence of plus was 94.9% from the population studied. So the majority here of Nigerians are O and positive.
Wow.
All right, just so you know. All right, I think we're going to go on a unbloody break.
Yes, we deserve one.
Atela, Jankara, enjoy the music.
Listen, one leg in, one leg out. Should be you to see me. Change your style, okay, be like that. Life no be a serious something, still no be a play something. When you wake up for morning, make you thank the Lord. So I say jump, jump, clap your hands. Passing when no done so.
Tela, I hope you enjoyed the song. Welcome back. Welcome to the health station on Nigeria Info. If you're just tuning in, you're not too late. There's always something you can learn. We were talking about blood. Well, we were saying how blood is important, how blood is, how can I say, it's a blueprint of your immunity, of your identity, of your genetic inheritance from your ancestors, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. So we spoke about different blood types. We're not going to go too much into details. I think I've given enough details about why it is very important to know what your blood type is. So how did we discover all this? How did it all start? So the first thing you have to understand, because the title of this show is Eat Right for Your Blood Type, okay? Certain types of dietary systems talk about bio-individuality and more, about how unique you are and about how every single thing you eat is tailor-made specifically to your own needs, your own biological needs. For instance, you've got in Ayurvedic medicine, you've got what we call the 3 doshas. You've got Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and these doshas are like biological energies that are found through the human body. And according to your dosha, you have a different diet. You also have different metabolism. Some people metabolize carbs better than others. Some people metabolize proteins better than others. Some people are okay with both. Some people have a low tolerance to some foods. Some people have an allergic reaction, which is an immune reaction to other foods. So you have also what we call the blood type, because it is a leader in individualizing the ways of eating in scientific ways, which may not be figured out by just basic intuition or animal instinct. There is research behind it. Okay, so all this work is very recent. But until 200 years ago, it was assumed that blood ran in our body that the same way for everyone, that we all had the same kind of blood. And that's not too long ago when you think of the existence of humankind, which is more than 50,000 years ago. I'm just talking about the most recent of our ancestors. So until 2,000 years ago, people thought that the blood that was running through all our veins was the same. So in war, you had high-level officers that would bleed. And to save them, they would transfer blood from soldiers so the leaders could live. Now, sometimes it did not work, just like Russian roulette, but sometimes it worked. So only 100 years ago, we're talking not too long ago compared to the human existence here on Earth, only 100 years ago, a scientist realized that there are different blood types, 4 types, all right? And his name, he was an Austrian physician, all right? And his name was Karl Landsteiner, if I say it right, okay? And he discovered that you have the A, the B, and the O. And in the 1900s, he found that blood serum from different people could actually clump together, what we call agglutinate, when they're mixed in test tubes, and that some blood also agglutinated with animal blood. So he found that we had very much similarities with blood from rodents, which are rats and mice, which is why they use them a lot nowadays in science experiments. Apes, like chimpanzees, baboons, gorillas. So he did a lot of pioneering research on that. And thanks to him, people were able to build up on that research and discover even more and more things about blood. So it's not too long ago. Now, back to our basics about food. Food, because this is what the show is about, eating right for your blood type, okay? Food is a major invader in our body, all right? We have the skin that protects us from outside
Environment.
pathogens, but you also have the stomach, because whatever you take in, which is the food, it can actually also be considered a pathogen if it's not healthy food or good food or even processed food, which is what we eat a lot. So the need for the immune system to react appropriately to digest material is very crucial for survival. So this is why more immune cells and activity is taking place in our gastrointestinal tract than anywhere else in our body, because this is where the barrier is, the frontier between the outside world and our inside world. All right, so it goes through the mouth all to the stomach. So different blood types program the immune system to tolerate different kinds of foods depending on your ancestry. So your immune system is programmed to accept the kinds of food that were major parts of your ancestors' diet thousands and thousands of years ago. It's not about what your grandmother was enjoying to eat and your father loved to eat, so this is why you eat it. No, it's more than that. It's a genetic blueprint. It is engraved in your genes. All right? Now, what is the key and how does that work? It all comes back to one protein we call lectin. I'm giving you a bit more details just for the knowledge of it. It's interesting. These lectins are proteins found mostly in foods. And they have like a sticky property. They agglutinate, okay? They stick. Just like sellotape, let's put it this way, just like glue, okay? And they help, and these lectins help the food attach itself to the walls of your intestinal tract. So they play a very important role, because not just do they let the food attach itself, but they also let other parasites or microbes attach themselves, but they also let the immune cells attach themselves to those microbes and parasites. So they attach themselves to the slippery surfaces of gastrointestinal walls and immune cells, and the immune cells use lectins as well to snap or snatch or grab on to any microbe or parasite they can find.
Okay.
So it's two-way. And these lectins are blood type specific. All right. For instance, you have lectins in milk that have B-like qualities, so for blood type B, and so type A are more likely to react to them because they are specific to type B. So back to our story. And to cut the story short, the guy who came up with all this eat right for your blood type theory, his name was James D'Adamo. He was a naturopath in Canada. He started this whole thing. And eventually, with time, his son, Peter D'Adamo, worked in identifying which foods are more suited for which blood type. So he intensified, he went more in depth with his father's research. And they tested thousands and thousands of foods on thousands and thousands of peoples, and they noted which food raised toxic byproducts of those lectins reaction. And so his extensive research led to what the guidelines are about what you should eat for your blood type. History 101 over.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take another break again, and we'll be back on more on what you should eat for your blood type. Each and every one of you right now, if you don't know what your blood type is, do find out. It's really important, not just to know what you should be eating. These are different theories once again, but they come with basic proof as well, and they have good credentials, if I can put it this way. People do believe in that. People have tested them. It's not just, anecdotes about what people like to eat. It is actual research that has been done on thousands of people with thousands of food items. So I will leave you on a break. We'll be back shortly with Dear Future Wife by Johnny Drill.
This announcement is brought to you by Chocolat Royale. Guess who's turning 25 soon? We are actually 1/4 of a century. Whew. We can't believe it ourselves. To celebrate, we have launched a birthday promo. To mark our birthday month, get 10% off all items purchased in store or orders placed for the whole month of November. But that's not it. To also mark our birthday, come the 20th of November, you get an additional 15% on all store-bought items. Yes, that's 25% off all store-bought items on Wednesday, 20th of November 2019. Chocolat Royale is located at 267A Etimian Crescent, Victoria Island, Lagos. We also have a branch at Central Lekki Mall, plot 65A, block 15, Admiralty Way, Lekki Phase 1. On Instagram and Facebook at Chocolat Royale. That's at Chocolat Royale for more updates. Chocolat Royale. We are in the business of creating delicious memories. That is what we do.
And we're back. This is Health Station with Carla.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back to the show, to the Health Station, to Nigeria Info 99.3. If you just tuned in, you are still welcome to join us. We never have too little to say with Dipo and I. So today we are talking about blood, and we're talking about how unique your blood type is to your own bioindividuality. And we spoke about how the naturopath Peter Dadamo, who's the son of James Dadamo, went into pioneering into this research of how blood types have evolved and how each of them may be best suited for a specific type of diet. So back to our blood types. Blood types have evolved. They go from O to A to B to AB, just as humanity has evolved. And each phase represents a different pattern of diet and environmental challenges. So humans also have evolved and adapted in their diet throughout time. The way we eat now is very much different than the way our ancestors used to eat. So knowing your blood type may be key to knowing how your immune system will react to certain foods and to certain diseases, and also to what you need to eat to maximize your potential for health, your potential for vitality. So, story begins.
Yeah. I love us.
I'm taking you all the way back to around 50,000 years ago.
Dum, 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 dum.
Back to the early humanoid ancestors. So, the first ancestors we had, the humanoid ancestors, were the Neanderthal and the Cro-Magnon. You don't need to know these by heart, but I'm just giving you fancy names to make it sound fancy. So these were predators, they were hunters, they were the kings of the food chain, and they were very cunning in the way they would chase and fish. They knew how to get to their prey. And their diet was, of course, as you know, high in animal proteins. They ate a lot of animal meat. And so what blood group was born? O.
Oh, okay.
And O is the predominant blood type today. The majority of people have O, because it's the oldest. O for old.
Oh,
all right?
nice one.
So these were the original hunters, and every culture in the world still has many types O. Okay? When you think about it, they have natural predators. I mean, when you think about it, the hunter-gatherers were not just natural predators towards the food chain or the animals around them, but to themselves. You know, they became they started fighting for land. Food started becoming scarce because they were all into hunting. So they started migrating away from Africa because the food supply was exhausted. They needed to go look for more animals to hunt, more fish to fish. I don't know, I wasn't there, but this is what people assume. Now, around 20,000 BC, they were in what is now called Europe and Asia. So they migrated from Africa, went all the way to Europe and Asia. And eventually they migrated also to what is known today as Australia and the Americas. Now, there was definitely some failing food supply, because along the way, and this is what had led to, along the way, there was, as I was saying, a lot of war, rivalry, migrations, because they were following where the food was.
Okay.
And so this must have pressured them to become more omnivorous, meaning they were forced to eat not just meat, but they started relying on a diet that is based on berries, on nuts, on insects, on roots, on smaller animals, not the big animals they used to hunt. So their diet started to change at this point because of migration, because of food exhaustion, that the food supply was not as common as before, because they were increasing in population as well. So between 2000 BC and 15,000 BC, you have the type A that started to gain dominance in Western Europe, where they had migrated. So from type O, we're going to type A, which is A for agrarian, you could say, because they were cultivating land, they were domesticating animals. It was no longer we're looking for the animals and we're hunting them. So we're looking at a whole new digestive and immune system here. And these ancestors were less hunters and more cultivators, as I said. They were much better adapted to their environment. They were learning from, their ancestors. They also were more resistant to contagious diseases. So their immunity was building up. They were more resistant to cholera, to plague, to smallpox. And they were able to digest grains, which their ancestors didn't do back then. So, very rapidly, type A took over from type O, especially in Western Europe. It is believed that type O's are more susceptible to death from infections than type A, by the way. And this all goes back to why? Because O's were not adapted as A have adapted and evolved. So, once again, we're going to phase 3. Between 15,000 and 10,000 BC, there was another mutation that took place. And this was in the Himalayan highlands, and this is where the type B started emerging.
Okay.
And it was, as you know, the Himalayan highlands are the cradle of the greatest tribes. You have the Mongolian warriors and other tribes that also evolved from there. And these dwellers actually... these dwellers were actually living in what we call steppe, which is large areas of flat and unforested grasslands in southern East Europe or Siberia as well. So we're talking about all that region there. Their diet included meat, cultured dairy products, so dairy has started being introduced, and soon type B spread into Asia and Eastern Europe. So B stands for balance because it's a mixture between A and O. What A ate and what O ate. Vegetarian, but at the same time, meat eating. All right?
Yeah.
Then finally, the most modern blood type of them all, AB. Also the most unstable of them all, unfortunately. Just like our modern life nowadays. Very unstable in everything we do, the food, the wars, God help us. So it actually accounts for less than 5% of the world's population, AB. It's still the most recent one.
Okay.
All right. And research suggests probably that they started as the nomad warriors, which were the type B, moved in on collapsing civilizations like the Roman Empire or other European cultures. And this is where they migrated and became AB. They mixed. A mixed with B, mixed with O. You have a melting pot there, a complex and enigmatic blood type that is unsettled, known as AB. Perfect metaphor of our modern life. All right, so we're taking you on one last break before we dig into the real deal, which is what should you eat for your blood type. Now that you've understood how we've evolved, you've understood what our blood types are and where they come from and why it is important to know what your blood type is, I will leave you for the last time with Ajuke Jan.
Standing here in this place, wondering how long forever will last. I'm staring into your face. Now I'm thinking, wanna see the end of forever with you. getting paper so I can give you everything you dreamed of. Girl, your love has brought me down on my bending knees. Will you marry me? We were meant to be. My torture, I offend me. Come closer. Girl, I made this promise to you, and you know I will be true.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we're back to blood. We're back to talking about eating right for your blood type. We went through a history of how your blood type has evolved. And, Depo, you were asking me how come the majority of blood types in Nigeria are O. And that's my answer to you. So we know that the cradle of humanity is Africa. Humanity started in Africa. And Africa back in the long millions of years, was glued in a way to Asia, Europe, Americas, Australia. It was all part of one same continent called the Pangea. And so people started migrating when during the ice age, the level of the water was actually going down because it was melting, or the other way around. So they were able to migrate on foot and cross those short little seas or the rivers, to go to other continents, and the continents started drifting away. So basically, because O was the initial blood type and humanity started in Africa, the majority of Africans have O. All right. Interesting. Again. So that was Tijan Ajuke. Very nice song. I loved it. As always, Dipo, you always surprise me with your taste in music. Amazing artists, amazing Nigerian artists. I really hope they get heard even outside Nigeria, because we do have very talented artists here. We do. So back to our blood. All right, blood. We are going to start with blood type O, which was the first blood type. What are the strengths of blood type O? Hardy digestive system, strong immune system, natural defense against infections, efficient metabolism, and shorter small intestine compared to others, and less chance of cancer. What are the weaknesses? Low tolerance for new diets and new environments. Immune system can be overactive and attack itself, and baked goods may cause a tired and foggy feeling. Health risks: low thyroid, inflammation, arthritis, blood clotting disorders, and ulcers, since they get overly acidic, of course. What else do we have? Usually diet profile of the O positive of the O blood type is red meat. They have strong enzymes to digest meat, so they're the meat people because they were the hunters. High protein, vegetables and fruits, of course. Now, what should an O type reduce? Reduce corn, reduce meat, reduce baked goods, reduce beans, so beans, lentils, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower. So I don't know about your akara or your moi moi if you want to enjoy it, if you're a blood O, but you have to reduce that. Increase kelp, seafood, enjoy seafood in Nigeria, salt, liver, red meat, kale, spinach, broccoli, and pineapple. So these are like the strong ones. There are many other, there's a lot of information out there. I'm just giving you some highlights here. You've got then blood A, agrarian. We have strength, adapts well to changes in diet and environment, little need for animal foods, immune system preserves and metabolizes nutrients more easily. So they're more adapted to different kinds of food. What's the weakness? A sensitive digestive tract, a vulnerable immune system, and they are very open to microbial invasion. So they have to be careful. Health risk, heart disease, cancer, anemia. Make sure you check that depot. Liver and gallbladder disorders and type 1 diabetes. What's the diet profile of blood type A? Usually classic vegan vegetarians, so they eat vegetables, tofu, seafood, grains, beans, legumes, and fruit. So that's type A. Moving to type B, what are the strengths? Strong immune system. They adapt to changes in diet and environment very easily. Strong nervous system, and they tolerate chaos, apparently.
Okay.
And then you have weaknesses. There are no natural weaknesses known, but they have a tendency towards autoimmune breakdowns and rare viruses. All right. Health risk, type 1 diabetes, chronic fatigue, symptoms, autoimmune disorders like multiple sclerosis, let's say. What should they eat? So basically, their diet is more of an omnivorous diet. They eat meat, they eat chicken, dairy, grains, beans, legumes, vegetables, a bit of everything. But they should reduce preferably corn, lentils, peanuts, sesame seeds, buckwheat, and wheat. And increase greens, eggs, liver, and licorice tea. So enjoy that tea.
Okay.
Then you have AB, which is the most recent and unstable of them all. Although the strengths are, it adapts well to modern life, it has a rugged immune system, combined benefits of type A and type B, of course, and most adaptable, and it can change and morph into anything. It can process information quickly. So yeah. That's the despite it being unstable. Weaknesses, sensitive digestive tract, tendency for over-tolerant immune system that allows too many microbes to come in. It does. So when you're saying tolerant immune system, that means whatever comes in, they're not picky in fighting it, they can let it come in. But the problem is that then you have microbial invasion, and that's bad. And they say that blood type AB has trouble feeling understood by society. Do you know any AB that has trouble feeling understood by society?
I don't know any.
All right, then you have reduce red meat, kidney beans, lima beans, seeds, corn, and buckwheat. Increase tofu, seafood, good quality dairy, greens, kelp, and pineapple. There's a lot more to be said about that. We're just giving highlights here. You can always find out more on hashtag The Health Station on Instagram, or follow me at CARLA NoujimC, CARLA NOUJIMC. Always a pleasure to have you follow us and have more on that. I will leave you for now, Dipo, until we meet next week. But we won't be talking about blood. I think we've done enough blood today.
Yeah,
it was a bloody good show, wasn't it?
Yes, no cursing.
I'm not going to say it much. I'm going to try and be polite. But bloody good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Bloody,
good.
bloody, but very nicely bloody. All right. Thank you for joining us. Thank you once again for tuning in to the Health Station, as we are here every Friday at 10 a.m. on the show. If you've missed out part of the show, the Nigeria Info Lagos Facebook page, always we're always streaming live. Then you can recap on a recorded show. Depo, anything for this weekend other than blood?
A lot of sleeping, actually. Sleeping, resting, and probably will be around for there's the election coverage for the election that's going on in Kogi and in Bayelsa.
So there's a lot to do.
Yeah, we'll be in the office.
Nigeria Info is always at the top of the game. So this is what we do. We are linked by blood. Blood is memory without language. Remember that, by Joyce Carol Oates. Have a lovely, lovely, bloody weekend. I'm joking. No, just have a lovely weekend.
That was Health Station with Carla. Make it a date next week, 11 a.m. to 12 noon.